let us say that you have X amount of chi in the body, which is your pranic force. Most of us live outside of the body from childhood. Genetically, we live outside the body. From day one, we are taught to go to school, find books, read the books, go to school, ride a bicycle, go to the restaurant, get a job, get money, get outside. So we are completely detached from the inside. We take our inside for granted. Our inside works for us 24/7. The heart, the lung, liver, they don't ask anything, they just work. So we are all the time living outside of our body. We hardly pay any attention to the inside. Only of recent times, now people have started jogging, gymming, whatever, because they realize that, health is also important. But it's a very small part of their life. The corporate man, in the evening, he'll go play tennis for half an hour because a fad plus...
Somebody has told him that they used to do it.
So one is a fad. The other thing is look good. Wear good fitting t-shirts, tight jeans, look impressive. Gym so that your muscles flex when you walk. So the purpose is... So the purpose of health is more decorative. Okay, they are not looking at it as real health. It's more decorative health. And then we have our fast food and everything, which is detrimental. On Saturday, Sundays, we go drink and smoke and mess it all up. And then we try to balance it over the weekend. So over the week, we try to do gymming, or we go jogging. We do 4 days a week jogging, twice a week golfing, something like that, or 2 days tennis, and then we mess it up. We hardly pay attention to our health from the day we are born. We are completely mind, body, soul, spirit. We are all in together as one unit when we are children. When you are born as a baby, but because the baby has no other thought right now. It's just itself. It's one whole entity. The moment we start thinking, reasoning, life starts outside. The baby now wants something from outside, wants toys from outside. Everything is going on. The chi in the mind, the chi in our body, the chi in our soul, the chi in our spirit, the chi that exists, the pranic force. Take it as a small little bag full of it, which is inside our body. That chi is what sustains. It's like using it's like a nuclear atom which can expand. Now that chi is what is required for our life, for a healthy, long life. The chi distributes itself technically for heart, lung, liver, blood, kidney, every part, mind, for being soulful, for being internal, for everything, movement, walking, ligament, tendon, joint, bone. This chi distributes over a lifetime. How does the chi work? The chi is part of your body. So when you, if you think about the chi, if you use your mind, the mind is abstract, but the mind is what does everything. Brain, mind. So the mind tells you you're hungry, so you walk towards it. Like that, through your mind, you make the chi flow and distribute it accordingly. And the body's mechanics distributes the chi as required. Like X percentage for the heart, electrical requirements of the heart is so much, body is so much. So it's flowing all over, and
so it's somewhat like a battery with a...
It's a battery, a rechargeable battery.
Okay.
So
it can be recharged.
Recharge battery.
Okay.
How do you recharge the battery? To recharge the battery, meditation, yogic practices, tai chi, and such arts which are internal, completely internal, not external. Jogging, running, and all that, they just increase the blood flow in the body, but they do not directly have any relevance to the functioning of the kidney or the liver or the intestines. You can't jog and improve your gallbladder. It is not possible.
But we are saying it has use, but it has limited use.
Limited. It has limited. It has use.
We are not saying don't do it.
No. You have to do. Okay. Rather do something than not do anything. At least you have to see there are some biometrics. Like if your waist has to be in a particular size to be healthy. Your stomach should not you should not bloat. So if you maintain good weight, you are overall better health than normal. However, if you are noticed, I think over life you can see the fittest people have died of heart attack. There are examples which I don't want to give names. For example, that man from which is the SAP. He used to run 40 kilometers, 30 kilometers, super fit. He died of a heart attack. Young people, gymmers, for example, our Kannada hero,
Yeah, that actor. Yeah,
or Shivraj Kumar, or not Shivraj Kumar.
Puneet.
Raj.
Yeah.
He died. Gymming. That's because there is no balance.
So they overdo it.
They overdo it. Second thing is, when you gym, for example, it's more pumping of the muscles. Your muscles, tendon, ligament, bone. You are not, the exercise does not reach these internal organs. It can't reach a kidney. It doesn't go to the kidney directly, or it's just overall health. But but if you notice, if you check, if you go through and check, the fittest people have all the problems, all these health problems they can end up with. Also, there's another thing. Your whole day, you deteriorate your health on a day-to-day basis, minute to minute, because of posture, because of food, because of the way you sit, and posture again, of course, the way you walk, the weight distribution. You lean against a wall and your balance is disturbed the whole day. You lean and talk against a wall, you're standing on one leg, and you sit with your chest down, where all the internal organs are getting crushed. Internal organs are like I would say it's like water balloons in a bucket. If you put 10 water balloons in a bucket and keep shaking, they start fraying, leaking. That's right.
One of them will have.
You need to keep space. They should rub against each other, friction, and then they age out the balloons because of friction. So there's a way to hold the body posture, but you are not aware because you don't practice internal awareness. So you don't realize how your body is. Your body is sometimes down, it's crushed. You're sitting in awkward positions. The way you watch a movie, for example, you lie down and your neck is in a terrible situation. Your cervical, your problem. The way you type.
So these are physical posture problems that we are
which,
not aware of.
Which you're not aware of. So you're typing RSI, which is why you end up with RSI, spondylosis, arthritis. All these are causes of because of our lifestyle. We are not aware of how to live. Nature has taught us one thing, how to walk. That has come directly by nature. That's why if you notice, when your left leg goes forward, your right hand goes back. That synchronized happens. You don't never walk with hands and legs both moving forward.
Correct.
It's yin yang. You can see the yin yang, the change. So one leg goes forward, hand goes back. You see that perfect balance. That's like your like the piston, the train. You see those pistons moving. One forward, one back. So that is nature given. That is why that's the only thing that's saving us because of that. Otherwise, all our postures they use. So you think of the whole day. We use probably the left hand all the time. We're not using the right hand, or using the right hand. We turn left, right 100 times in a day probably, and we don't turn left equally. We use the phone bending the neck towards the right, but we don't distribute it back to the left. So if you notice all these things, and then the way we sit, we lean towards the right, we lean towards the left probably. We bend our knees when we sit. Left leg will be inside, right leg will be outside.
First thing is that we sit like this.
Yes. Then you sit with and you tighten your shoulders when you sit. Your left leg is back, your right leg is front. Our hip is in an awkward angle. Our spine is crushing downward. So we are deteriorating our health on a day-to-day basis, which is why probably instead of living for 200-300 years, we live only for 30-40 years healthy. And it's impossible for normal people to keep this kind of awareness on how to walk well, sit well, breathe correctly, not to lift the head up, keep the head down. All the very difficult, very complicated. So we are deteriorating. Now, for all this to happen, you have to be mindful. So our mind is completely not used at all. Our mind is used for job, for working, for playing, for going out, watching movies, reading books, and for whatever our lifestyles are. We are not using our mind to improve lung functioning, heart functioning, kidney functioning. We are not asking our stomach, what do you like to eat? We have decided what our stomach likes. Actually, we have no right to decide what the stomach likes because the stomach may not even like what we like, what we think we like. Because stomach is an organ. It has its own life. We can't say that, no, my stomach likes chili. That happens because we like it. We acclimatize the stomach, but the stomach goes through its impact. You may say I like it.
So
but that
we
doesn't-
actually impose our tastes on the body.
You are always imposing your taste on the body. You are punishing your body with your posture. You are punishing your body with the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you eat. And then the stress. Now, for example, when you say when somebody is fat, it leads to a lot of mental stress and they're disturbed because they go into anorexia and all, because they could. So, you see, the body, if it's not functioning, it affects the mind. Now, when somebody is going through stress, mental stress, you see the body stops. That's why there's overeat and put on weight and all that. So you see, mind and body are connected. So you can't say, it's not like saying, even the most brilliant of people have issues. I mean, you can't say that everything is mind. No. If it's only the mind that is functioning, then why is the body feeling? So if only the body is functioning, why is the mind feeling? Which means I'm saying if you're overweight, your mind is not functioning. If you're overstressed, then the body doesn't function. So you have to take care of mind and body. Now, the chi, pranic force, has to be connected. Like we said, it's a rechargeable battery. So it's what you're doing is the battery which is supposed to last for 100 years, you're using it all up in 20 years. That's why by the time you're now, current age, by the time you're 30, you're plagued with problems. You have got mental health, your palpitations, diabetes, heart failure, lung failure, liver failure, 101 problems, anger management issues, because a million problems, because the batteries are all used up. And you do not have the ability to recharge your batteries because it's not a part of your thinking. So you'll skip, you'll do running, suddenly you start getting stressed out. So, doctors will say, do something. So you will do the minimal things, but that is not the way body is made. The body is made, everything requires equal attention. You need to put same amount of attention to live healthily as much as you put for work. When you say work-life balance, the real work-life balance means life is you inside and outside. It's the yin and the yang, the outer side of the body and the inside of the body equally should be respected. You should distribute the channel of both equally. You should make both 100%. So if you do, so how do you do that? You have to be mindful about using your chi, pranic force, to distribute in the body. So how does the pranic force recharge? You have to think about the batteries. The connect is in the mind. The mind should go and connect those positive, negatives in the body and generate it. Also, there is also something called like our UPS. If you have a 10-story building or a house, take a the UPS, some are connected to the room. They are not connected to the refrigerators. UPS, for example, it's connected to the first floor, not to the. So you have switches to switch on, switch off. You have to fill the battery.
It can do a few things, but not everything.
So you can't just keep the battery on. You can't just. You also need to use the battery well, which is generate the force from the battery to the heart to each. So you have to take extra trouble to do that also. Okay, that's your. You can't spend 24 hours living outside. You have to also live inside. So you have to equal time. You have to give respect to the body. So you need to generate the chi everywhere. So you need to get connected to the batteries. You must know where the batteries are. You must know how to use the batteries, and you must know how to plug on, switch off, and direct and correct. So now that is it. That is one thing. Second thing is, health is a state of mind. If you feel very healthy, if you think healthy, if you feel healthy, if you stay happy, if you're smiling, if you're happy, it generates chi. Positive thinking generates this battery to work. This battery doesn't work only by connecting to electricity. It also is solar, like solar batteries. So the solar here is positive thinking. So if you spend your day being positive, if you sit in good posture, if you think well, if you walk well, if you speak well, if you use the energy well, that generates solar energy. So the battery charges. Okay, that's now solar charge. Now internal charge. For that you have to do internal charge, like Tai Chi. The whole purpose of Tai Chi is to connect your mind, to help you to connect your mind to the batteries. And by each of those movements that we do, this continuous flow. That's why we call it meditation in motion. We are meditating internally and moving the body. And the body moves by this battery charge now. So two things happen when you do Tai Chi. when you meditate and your pranic force, that is the energy, gets generated because of these movements, and you soulfully practice the whole form, which can take 5 minutes to 1 hour. It's like it's continuous motion. It's not static. Tai Chi is always moving. So during the movement, you circulate the chi all over the body. You open up. So what happens is all the pipes that where the your meridians, we call it meridians. They are like pipes all over the body. So you send this chi, this prana, by movement to different parts of the body. It's like taking a car and going to Alsur, going here, traveling all over the place. It's like traveling. So you take this prana everywhere. To the knees, to the hands, to the ligament, joint, blood, bone, everywhere. And you awaken all of them. So healthy living is not about exercise, the right kind of exercise. Tai Chi becomes the internal, is the electricity, the internal battery. And the way of life is your solar connection. So when you have the ability, so why do we practice Tai Chi? Tai Chi is the way, which is like an engineering subject. It teaches you how to generate solar energy also. Because the Tai Chi teaches you posture. Tai Chi will teach you how not to sit wrong. It builds awareness, how to keep healthy without in the right ways. It shows you how to walk. It shows you how to protect your knees. It shows you how to do this whole thing, how the whole process of living healthy, how to improve your digestion, everything. So good health is when you can live outside and inside, giving equal attention, and the ability to process solar energy and your battery energy direct, which is electrical connected and solar connected. So both this thing. Now that is what is wellness, which is real wellness is not about, real wellness is eating well, eating right. So 80% or not 80%, 90% of all the problems of health can be resolved if you sit right, if you walk right, if you stand right, if your posture is correct all the time, if your posture is alive, if you can keep passing this chi. So the chi dies inside because you are completely dead to it. You are switched off from it. Your mind is totally lost, and the mind is the one that awakens the chi. So your mind is so lost in your work, and you're so absorbed in your work that everything dies inside. It's just working on its own sluggishly. It's not alive with you. The body has to be alive with you. That is, in every action and thought of yours, you should keep the body also involved. Like if you're working on a computer, for example, you should also keep awareness of your hands and keep the body alive. Smile, generate the chi, sit properly, and do your work. So both work together, mind and body. That is when your health is real health. Real health is when your mind and body, soul and spirit are all together, moving in conjunction with each other. And that Tai Chi assists you to do. You can't, Tai Chi doesn't happen. Normal practices of health, like you can't do 1 hour of aerobics and say I'll be healthy for the rest of the day. No, because it depends on how badly you're destroying your health. It depends on how much of your pranic shakti you're using, burning up in a day. So some jobs have over stress. When people have extreme stress, they have severe problems later. I know, for example, in a corporate, there was this girl who was an IIT IIM girl who has come to my dojo for help. So she had this project which she had to complete. She took up as a challenge to complete in 4 months. Whatever, very difficult. Day and night, and she ended up with paralysis. Something broke down inside because the stress, she couldn't handle it finally. So IIT, IIM, and all that didn't help. She became half a vegetable because of the stress, and she was hardly in her 30s. Okay, so she had come to my dojo asking, how can I get back my health? I mean, they brought her to the dojo. They had to carry her up. And just before this happened, she was just 30s. IIM, IIT. And
this happened because she had no sense of proportion.
Yes, no proportion.
When it came to how much she could take.
And each body is different after all. Everybody's body is constructed differently. No body of the human body is constructed same. Each one has its own recipients, its own strength, its own weaknesses. So you don't know what is happening.
But Sensei, what happens in a work situation, for example? assuming there are two people of the same designation.
Correct.
And then one of them is able to, be more flexible, be able to take more bigger burdens and deliver. So of the two, this one gets more work. Eventually, it might lead to more recognition, better position, and all that. But when that happens, should you resist it? Should you take it up realistically, or should you take it up as a challenge? Things like this girl, I think, probably.
If this girl had taken the challenge, understood what she was doing, and taken care of herself through the challenge,
that is a critical
and lived mindfully, then nothing would have happened. So now the point is, why do we train? We train to develop this kind of equanimity for the body.
I think in
develop
her
respect
case,
for the
she forgot this part.
She forgot that who is she killing in the process? She is not eating, not thinking, not sleeping, pressure. Her body just blew apart. It couldn't take it. If she had the equanimity to control, to understand her body and to balance.
So you're saying she could have taken up all the responsibilities.
Yes, she could have.
She could have pulled it off.
Yes.
If only she had been more mindful about her own.
So how does it? So take an aircraft. We are flying millions of miles across continents. There's a maintenance manual. You check. I'm talking internationally. Maintenance manual. Check. When you don't check aircraft, the aircraft doors fall off. Aircrafts crash. When maintenance is bad. If you really well-maintained aircraft, for example, the fighters, you've seen. The best of them mix crash, whatever. Fighters crash. Because maintenance issues, this issue, aging process. You have to know how to maintain. It's like a car. You want to drive, you maintain it well, it doesn't give you problems. If you don't take care of it, it'll crash. It'll break down. When the bearings go off, if you don't get it, if you don't do the alignment regularly, if the wheel balancing is on, the tires burn away. Then the tire is off, then the bearings are off. Bearing is off, engine, everything, axle goes, everything starts happening. You must understand balance. So to know how to balance the yin and yang, the negative, positive energies in the body, to know how to balance, how to connect yourself to the body, how to know when your body is not responding correctly, how to avoid the body having problems, how to stop it from before it can degenerate. You need to train. Like anything else. How does a mechanic, by just listening to, you just start an engine of a car or a pilot, he switches and then he says something is not okay. The aircraft is not okay. The mechanic will listen to the bike or a car and he'll say, sir, I think must be bearing a problem in it. Or he'll say that, they know what to do. When you're driving, suddenly you realize that steering is sluggish, puncture might be a puncture, or maybe it's deflated. How do you know this? Because you're trained in that particular thing. Here also you need to train in this particular thing, which is called body. And Tai Chi is the mechanics to understand mind, body, soul at its best, at its highest level. Because of the whole, we have discussed the molecular movement and internal and pore by pore movement, and that's why it's called internal meditation. So I'll tell you one more thing. To be healthy, whilst in stress, you should meditate. Stress and meditation must work together. Then it's in yang. That is an ability you should understand. So you can't have great stress and meditate later, because during great stress the damage would have happened. Meditation can't heal it. So the damage is already happening. How can it heal?
So in a crisis, you should be mindful of what you must do to be in good shape.
Yes. You can handle the crisis, you can be in crisis, you can live in crisis, but knowing how to handle your mind and body during the crisis. You must have that ability to know what to do. So it's like this. You can take your car on a very rough road, but you need to have the right tires. You should have the correct air pressure. You should have this. So you should know which car to take, which one to take, the SUV or whatever you have to take.
Depending on the width of the road.
Yeah, you can't take. You can't take a narrow road. You can't take a huge SUV and then
just because it's powerful. You think
it's all about balance. It's about knowing. And how we know about life outside, you should learn about life inside.
Understanding the navigation.
So you can manage stress and live in stress if you know how during the stress you can keep. So like for example, you see a kitchen, a good 5-star kitchen. They're cutting, cleaning, everything. Simultaneously, they're removing the debris, putting it into dustbins, making space. You don't go on piling up where you can't work anymore.
Correct. Has to all happen simultaneously.
So, de-stress and meditation should be